The Get Better podcast is for entertainment purposes only. The opinions expressed are those of the participants. Please remember to gamble responsibly.
So I was like, oh, so you work the venue? I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm yeah, we're up in the trees, like snipers, like rifles. We're up in the trees, and I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, that's where you guys are positioned. He's like, yeah, you'd never see us, but we're up in there just as like security or whatever. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So nice to meet you, all that kind of stuff. That's cool. Thanks for being there and taking care of us and all that kind of stuff. So I'm walking back to my table and I'm thinking to myself afterwards, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this guy looking at me through his scope? I like start thinking to myself, I'm like, hang on a second. Welcome to Get Better Sports for July 21st. Olympic week. Olympics are starting. The Summer Games 2020, delayed a year, have finally arrived. Been a tough haul, I think, for many Olympic athletes, having trained over the course of the 4 years leading up to that event, only to be delayed a year, probably prepped everything leading up to 2020 and then have it taken away by obviously COVID and the pandemic, as we know. But we are back up and running. Excited to talk some Olympics here with Troy, obviously. Troy, how you feeling about this week?
Love it, man. Love the Olympics. There's nothing better than the Olympics. I'm thinking we're in for one of the greatest performance based Olympics of all time. Because you hit it right on the head that if you're like one of those finely tuned athletes and that's gearing up for the Olympics, you're doing everything right. So like maybe during those layoff years where you have those 3 years, you could have a couple down weeks out, eating some cheeseburgers, whatever. But when it gets right down to that Olympic year, you're in it because this is your legacy. This is what everybody's going to remember. So imagine you getting prepared for last year in the best shape of your life, only to find out it's delayed and postponed. Like, do you immediately fall off the wagon? I think you're like, let's go. Let's keep this going. Rock it for another year. Mm-hmm. So I think we're in for some real record-breaking performances. I think we're going to see a lot of world records broken this year.
You're talking in general. You're talking in general, not just Canadian.
Not just Canadian. Canadian, I don't know about in general.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting too, because I think one of the things that I looked at is there's some athletes that have decided not to go. So that's an interesting take there, which is one thing. The other aspect to this is how hard have they been able to train, knowing that some of the facilities and training and things like that were completely shut down for portions of the year leading up to now. So it'll be interesting to see. But I do think, it's been tough. They've had to wait a year. This is the moment now. And as we know, for Olympic athletes, I don't feel like they get enough credit for what they do. So I'm a huge Olympic fan. Question for you. Are you more of a summer or winter Olympic?
Oh, that's good. You know what? It's I don't watch Olympics for the main stuff. Like obviously if it's Winter Olympics hockey, I want to see that hockey game.
Yeah.
But I love seeing like the biathlon. I'd love watching cross country skiing. No idea why. I love watching those races. Olympics. Yeah. Like fencing in the summer games, fencing. Yeah. Give me that stuff all day.
You're watching the fencing? You're watching fencing?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't know the rules. How do you know? Like,
just poke someone with your sword. That's it, bud. Okay, it's stabbing. It's basically stabbing.
Okay, so now you're just downplaying fencing altogether. There's a lot. There's probably a lot more technique.
Oh my God, the skill.
I'm with you on. I won't watch. I won't watch a lot of like the mainstream sports. Like I don't have really any desire to watch the basketball in the Olympics, as bad as that sounds. I have no desire to do
especially with Canada not there. Nope.
Not at all. I enjoy watching a lot of the athletics. I enjoy watching a lot of the sprinting for sure. 100-meter would be one of my favorites for sure.
You gotta watch that though. Yeah.
Rowing, all that
relay
stuff.
Races.
Yeah.
Love watching relay races.
4x100 relay is fantastic.
Even swimming.
The swimming relays are amazing. Love the swimming relays. Swimming is probably one of the most exciting sports you can watch when it comes to Olympics. I love watching swimming.
It's funny, like so many of these sports you just never watch year round. And it's only this time. And swimming is right there. Like I don't think I've seen one swimming event since the last Olympics, which is kind of sad.
Yeah.
I think we do a poor job of like putting those events in primetime slots.
Absolutely, we do.
Like if you would put on like Friday night races, like if you put Friday primetime 8:00 for 12 straight weeks, and it's just 100-meter dashes, I think you'd tune in.
Everything just gets swallowed up by the major sports, right? The major leagues, which gives me, it also poses another question for me when it comes to the Olympics, because like golf recently obviously became an Olympic sport.
Yeah.
Right. So like for these guys and these athletes, like, and I know it publicly when they're talking about it, they're going to talk about it and say like this, you're playing for your country, it means everything. But it's so much different than the athlete that's trained. This is the biggest moment for that swimmer, for that skier, for that rower, that sprinter, whatever, decathlete, like whoever, those types of sports. This is the biggest moment. This is the pinnacle of their career. Does a guy like Rory McIlroy, Xander Schauffele, Justin Thomas, those guys sit here and say, this is the pinnacle of my career, knowing that they've got 4 majors, they got championships, they got Ryder Cups, they've got all these other events that are the pinnacle of their sport? Where does Olympics sit for those? Same thing can be asked from a basketball perspective as well, right? Like,
it's on the list. That's on their list.
Yeah.
Right. It's like on their checklist. Like, I went to the Olympics. I did that. I have that experience.
Competed for my country. Yeah.
But it's not like, the archer who's ready to go and put everything into this moment, and this is their moment. That's why, like, I find, like, when I heard a lot of the people dropping out, I'm like, well, I get it. You have this other thing to fall back on. So, that's where you actually make your money. So, your sport is at a highly professional level already there. So I don't appreciate them, the ones that bowed out, as much as the others that aren't.
No, because this is it for them. This is the moment. This is the big moment, right? So that's why I love it. I think we've got to support the Olympics more.
Yeah.
It's a shame that these athletes don't become more household names and known. Like, I feel like we got to continue to elevate our star athletes from Olympic perspective. So
to answer your question, winter.
Yeah. We never actually got back to that. I'm probably winter as well, only because as a Canadian, I feel like we compete more from a medal perspective with regards to the Olympics, right? Like,
you got a shot.
Yeah, we struggle a bit in the summer, summer games. But it's tough. Like, I love it. There's so many summer sports that I really enjoy watching. But I am I'm a big fan of Olympics in general, but I do love the winter game. I spent some time at the Vancouver 2010 games at a particular venue. I was in the ski jumping venue. So I got to see like firsthand these athletes.
You got to go to the Olympics?
Yeah. Like, so I worked at the Olympics. I worked
every major golf course. Which Olympics was this one?
Listen, Vancouver 2010.
Of course, casual.
And this was an earned opportunity. Let's just
do
that. So I worked in production, like venue production for the ski jumping venue, which was Whistler Olympic Park. God, that'd be so fun. So it was ski jumping, there was cross country skiing, all that within the same venue. Ski jumping, maybe the craziest athletes I've ever met. So the role that I had, I was literally at the top of the jump, and I was connected to my producer who was in the booth, and I was radioing in next athletes that were coming. And literally, I'm here, the athlete comes down past me, and this slope is like straight down. And these guys literally just slide across, prop themselves up on this bar, prep themselves mentally to launch themselves down this massive slope. And from my vantage point, the very first one I saw, I remember the very first time I'm up there, I'm like, this is insane. Like, this is crazy. I don't know why anybody would ever do this. Guy slides across, sits on the bar, gives the go ahead, like starts sliding down, takes off. And because of the angle, he just disappears. And I'm like, I didn't even know. Like, I don't see him. I don't even see where it ends. I don't even see where he lands. And then I just see him skiing out and like coming down into the flat there. The craziest sport.
Oh, that would be so fun to just try. Like, I'd love to know how high I could go up before it's too scary. Like, could I take off
the
from
launch
like 10
alone
feet up?
Yeah, but to me, it's like, I don't even know if it's the ski down. It's, you're going off into the air and you've got to try to literally fly. You're like flying with these skis. Like you're like a flying squirrel. Like it's a lot harder. It's not just like you're jumping and landing and away you go. Like it's terrifying. It was terrifying.
So
I was
fun.
like, I don't know. Kudos to them. I was like,
I'd
this is
love to try that one.
totally different sport. Ski jumping is a sport.
Ski
I have no desire to try that sport. But awesome experience to see the athletes like firsthand, to experience that. It's phenomenal. Everything.
What's the coolest? Tell me something else. What was the coolest part of that Olympics? Did you see the gold medal game?
No, I didn't, because I was still up in Whistler. So I made it down.
Okay.
So basically we watched that gold medal game in Whistler, and then booted it down for the closing ceremonies, and was there for the closing ceremonies. But what we watched with our group. There's so many stories from that Olympics. Who was the Canadian skeleton athlete? Drawing a blank on his name right now. He hosts Amazing Race now. I'm drawing a blank on his name. We'll figure out his name. But I was walking in Whistler Village when he was doing that walk from the medal ceremony over to, or from where he had like his interview over the medal ceremony, and people were just handing him beers, and he's chugging these beers as he's walking, and I'm walking right there, and people just handing him beers, and like, it's a crazy environment, super, super fun. Yeah, it's just a different experience. The vibe is crazy, right? Like there's just so much that goes into it, so much planning, so much process, and then like all the fans, everything that's there. It's super, super fun. A lot of fun. I do have one crazy story about being so in my position where I was sitting up on top of the slope there, right, and down that hill. So I'm perched up pretty high there at the top of the slope. So I was probably, I don't know, a couple days into the games, we're out for dinner as our group and our team. And I can't remember what restaurant we're at. So we're out for dinner, and a few tables over, there's a group of like military. They're there for like security, event security, all that kind of stuff. There's military. So I get up to go to the washroom, and I go back to the washroom. As I'm coming back, one of them stops. He says, "Hey, you're at the ski jumping venue." And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, how'd you know that? Like, that's a random thing to know. He's like, yeah, we work the venue. He's like, we're up. And so ski jumping, how it works is you're on a slope, but literally you are surrounded by trees. So it's all forest. Everything behind you and all down the side is forest. And they try to block as much of the wind as possible. And all the events run early in the morning so that the wind doesn't become an issue for when these guys are taking off. These athletes are taking off, right? So you're surrounded. And I'm like, so I was like, oh, so you work the venue. I was like, what do you do? He's like, I'm we're like we're up in the trees, like snipers, like rifles, we're up in the trees. And I'm like, that's crazy. I was like, that's where you guys are positioned? He's like, yeah, you never see us, but we're up in there just as like security or whatever. And I'm like, wow. So I'm like, wow, that's crazy. So nice to meet you, all that kind of stuff. That's cool. Thanks for being there and taking care of us and all that kind of stuff. So I'm walking back to my table, and I'm thinking to myself afterwards, I'm like, wait a minute. Is this guy looking at me through his scope? I like start thinking to myself, I'm like, hang on a second.
That's the only way.
I was like, how does he know it's me? Like, to get that close. So I start thinking about it, like, so next day I'm up there. Next day I'm
red dot.
Next day I'm up there at the top of the slope, and I'm looking down, and literally all I'm doing is like, I had a hard time doing my job because I'm like looking in the woods. I'm like, where are these guys? Like,
take your hand off the trigger.
Yeah, don't point your gun at me. Like, I almost went back to the table and being like, I really appreciate what you're doing. Oh man, I just need to know, are you pointing your gun at me?
You got that's the question you needed to ask.
The craziest story I remember. The next day I was like looking in the woods, I was like trying to find these guys. I'm like, what? Yeah, it's crazy. It was fun. Great Olympics. Vancouver in 2010. Nothing better than Olympics in your hometown. But these ones, obviously not in Canada, are in Tokyo. Opening ceremonies is Friday.
Yeah, it's actually started. I saw we have a softball game on today. I was to chuckle at those guys that started a little early. Yeah. What if they get eliminated? I guess they probably make it so you can't get eliminated.
I think it's all like prelims.
Yeah,
and
it's
things
got to
like
be
that.
like you still have a shot after the opening ceremony.
Yeah,
Last thing you want to see is a couple of like baseball players walking through like, we're out. We're out.
we're not even
What an
here.
opening
Like,
ceremony this is.
yeah. So there's soccer and softball that starts a bit early. So those started, I think, today. And then I think I was just reading there's archery and some rowing preliminaries that start
Oh.
earlier prior to the opening ceremonies.
You know what? It's funny is just from a gambling perspective, I found it really difficult to bet on certain events. Like if I was looking for like canoe, and we'll talk a little bit about why I was looking at canoe a little bit, but
Yeah, it's valid. It's a good reason.
there's the each site had sports that they selected for some unknown reason. Like I noticed that one site didn't have swimming, and another one did. Some of them only had over unders for medal counts. It was hard to get into the individual events itself. So what my takeaway and kind of researching it this week was there's actually not a lot of gambling information on the Olympics. Right. It's I don't think a lot of people have put in the work around the strategies to win every 4 years. Like it's probably not a viable strategy as a person that's an expert in it. Like I specialize in betting the Olympics. Like it's not a real thing. And a lot of books, you couldn't do it for a long time either, right? Because of the amateur status of these sports. So a lot now that it's kind of a free fall. Looking forward to seeing what we can place wagers on this week.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is probably the most that the books have offered in the ways of variety around Olympic sports.
Yeah.
And I think it's become more prevalent now too, just with gambling laws. More and more states down in the US are opening up to online gambling and sports betting. So naturally, I think we're seeing a bunch more in the way of Olympic sports that are being offered. But I found the same thing as you. I shopped around a little bit, which I think is key for something like this, is you got to find a book that is going to offer you some variety and where you can find some value. It's really tough when you look at this to figure out where you're getting some value. And for me, one of the things that I found when we're doing this, and I didn't really do, in full transparency, a real deep dive on any specific picks and things like that I would look at. I'd probably have to go a little bit deeper. But one of the things that I think you really need to rely on here when you're looking at this is going back and doing your research on like Olympic trials and preliminaries and things like that, and understanding like world championships and things like that. Those are the contests for a lot of these sports that you're going to need to go and look at and understand who's pacing, trending really well coming into this. Because that's really the only great benchmark you have. It's not like the mainstream sports where you've got, year over year of data and information and week after week after week, game after game after game that you can rely on and have a really sound understanding as to making an educated bet here on who you think. You really have to put in some more time and research and find those sources that you can find this information. Because I agree with you. There's not a lot of information to be able to pull from.
Totally on that fact about it's not mainstream. So like listening to your mainstream people for advice in this situation is not ideal. Like you got to find the folks that are following these sports completely. And that's kind of where I'm leaning on their information this week.
Yeah. And you got to go to those federations, right? Those various federations for those individual sports,
individual rankings for each of things.
Exactly.
You know how hard it was to find like kayak rankings, like top 20 kayakers in the world. Like it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. So there's a couple things. When I looked at it, there was a few things, like maybe we'll talk about a couple different ways that you can bet, because I think that's important to call out. I think a lot of what you see here when you talk about the individual sports, most of the betting is kind of on outright winner, right? Like that's what you're seeing. It's all gold medal. Who's going to win? Outright winner, which is too bad. I'd love to see, and maybe there's some other books out there, and if anyone has stumbled across it specifically for Olympics, where you can bet onto place or show, like kind of like how you see with horse betting, basically, right? Like when you see win, place, show, like gold medal, bronze, it'd be nice to have some more options there, right?
Yeah, totally. Like it would be nice to have more than that. Like all I see is bet who's going to win a gold and will a country win this many medals or not.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, those are really the main bets that I saw. And so when I looked at that, like I honed in specifically on Canada when we talk about countries and betting. And so I did look a little bit into that, and sort of two places that I looked. First and foremost, there's the obvious bet that most sites are going to offer there is which country is going to win the most medals and the most golds. And it's not even a contest in the summer games. Really,
it is
like the US is going to dominate. We know that that's probably going to happen. It's highly likely they're going to win the most golds. They're going to win the most medals, and the odds show it. It's not even worth betting on. You're going to have to spend a fortune to make a little bit of money.
I wonder if it'd be smart just to bet like whoever the top American is in each of these things and see how that actually pans out in the end.
Yeah, you could probably, you might actually not do all that bad, although there's so many sports. But like in a lot of the marquee sports there, the marquee
take the top 3 countries.
Yeah. So with regards to Canada, because maybe let's just look at that and have some fun with that one first. So Canada total medals. Okay.
Are we doing total medals or are we doing gold medals?
Let's do both.
Okay.
So the one site that I looked at here, the one book that I looked at had Canada total medals at 19 and a half. We're talking over under here. So we're taking over under. What's your take on Canada's
a little bit of regression
medal count?
Okay. So on total medal count, here's what I say is we've heard a lot of, the Canadian Olympic Committee and the support they're putting behind a lot of these amateur sports to do better in these Olympics. I feel like this movement's been going on for at least, I feel like it's over a decade now. So we should see the fruits of this labor start to come through. So I believe that I'll be taking the over. I think we are trusting the process. We're growing here. And I think, what did we have in the last Olympics?
22 in Rio de Janeiro.
Yeah. So I'm trusting that we can do better than that. And that's over 19. So I'm taking the over.
Yeah. I'm taking over 19 and a half as well for a lot of similar reasons. I think when you look at the last 3 games, Beijing in 2008, we had 20. In 2012 in London, we had 18. In Rio de Janeiro, we had 22. And again, to your point, I think we put a lot of emphasis and focus on growing our homegrown talent and Olympic talent here. So I'm hoping that prevails and we get somewhere in that range of, hopefully we can exceed what we saw in Rio de Janeiro in 2016. So it'd be great to get us somewhere in that 23, 25 range in total medal count. So I too would take the over on that. Now, the next one we look at is gold. Ooh. So this is the interesting one. So total gold medal count for Canada. This same book had it at 4.5.
Yeah.
Where's your takeover on it?
So first of all, last time we had how many?
So how many golds? We had 4.
Last time we had 4 gold medals.
Yeah.
Oh, and how can I go one way and say, I'm trusting the process on one side and not on the other? I'm looking at a couple people I think the heavy favorites are. We have Kylie Mass in the pool.
Yeah, backstroke.
Right, that's a big one.
Heavy favorite. Like her as an individual bet too. Let's just comment on that at plus 300.
Yes, for sure.
She could
plus 300. Yeah, it's a bet. It's a bet I'm taking for sure. Laurence Vincent Lapointe.
Yeah.
Didn't know much about this person until this week. And she's got a shot at 2 of them. She is, I think, the number 1 canoeist. Is that proper? Is it canoeist? Canoer?
Let's say yes. Canoer.
One of them. Canoer.
It's definitely not canoer. She's the top.
So I think she's taking 2.
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. Wow. She can win both. Okay.
Yeah, I think she's got 1. Yeah. She's got 1 in there.
Yeah,
and she's in doubles in another. And then, of course, our decathlete, Damon Warner. He seems to be doing really well right now. A heavy favorite to win gold there. So I'll take him. So that has me at 4 already. 4.5. Okay. There's always a surprise, man. And it's usually in the pool. There's somebody out there that's going to come through and win gold and will have their name in spotlight. No one knew who Penny Olensiak was before the last Olympics. I don't think she's going to take a gold actually, but it's going to be somebody, out there. Or
it could be one of the freestyle, or the relays. I mean,
the relays. Yeah, maybe the relays.
our women's, our women's
Yeah.
4x100 and 4x200 meter freestyle relay. They've got a shot. They could be right there. And Sydney Pickram, who's our women's 400 individual medley, they're saying she could have a chance at a medal as well. Again, we're talking gold though. You got to get to that gold. There's a few other in there too, right? Like
maybe in the 200.
Maybe in the 200. You got a chance in the 200. The other two that kind of jumped out at me, Rosie McLennan, trampoline.
Yes.
What a story that would be if she could go 3. We're watching that one closely because that would be awesome. Three gold medals at 3 different Olympics. And the other one, Erica Weeb, wrestling too. She could have a chance. Yep. I think, I don't know if she's the favorite by any means, but she's got a chance.
So all I'm going over. Are you going over?
No, all of that said, I'm actually going under.
What? Really?
Yes. I am going under, and I know that's countered. It's not. I don't faith. I'm going based on the fact that we haven't exceeded 4 gold medals since 1992 in Barcelona. Wow. We had 7 in 1992 in Barcelona.
Good stat.
Atlanta, we had 3. Sydney, we had 3. Athens, 3. Beijing, 3. London, 2. Rio de Janeiro, 4. We tend to win a lot of bronze because a lot of people might be saying that's contradictory to taking the over on total medal count. Not necessarily, because we do tend to win a lot of bronze and we do win our fair share of silver. We just have a tough time maybe getting that top spot with gold. So I would take the under, and I would actually look at, if I could, parlay that a little bit. If you could find a book that would do it for you, and you could take the over on total medal count, and I would take the under on the golds at 4.5. And you know what? That's a bet that I'm actually, and they say don't bet with your heart. Hence the reason why I'm going under on this, because my heart, I would love to see Canada crush it and bring a bunch of golds home for sure.
We're going to find new heroes. There's going to be a couple new heroes.
Yeah. No doubt. We will see.
I think Laurence Vincent Lapointe is going to be our flag bearer too. Like, she's the only one that carries the flag in the closing ceremony.
Yeah. If potentially, it depends. I think if Rosie gets it done on the trampoline, it's got to be Rosie. It's got to be Rosie with 3 golds. But we'll see what happens. Like you said, there's always a hero. Something could happen. You never know with the Olympics. So that's
Olympics. I got something for you, Luke. I want to test your knowledge on the summer games here a bit.
Okay.
All right. I was having a lot of fun checking out some of the sports.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you 5 sports. And I want to hear yes or no from you if this is in the Olympics.
Let's be clear. My track record with your quizzes is not great.
Terrible.
Yeah,
but awful. This one you can ace. I think this one you have an ace. Okay. Ready? Is this an Olympic sport in the 2021 Tokyo Games? Surfing.
Yes.
You are correct.
Yeah. Surfing is a sport. An Olympic sport.
3-on-3 basketball.
Correct. It is.
Oh,
yeah.
Standing long jump.
Standing long jump.
Standing long jump.
Long jump is standing. Seems like a weird. There's not like you just standing and jumping. Like you're trying to trick me here. I'm gonna go yes, it is.
I'm sorry, sir, it's not.
Damn it!
I do laugh at stand long jump. Do you remember you used to do it in school? You go like
this. Yeah.
1,
yeah.
2, and then you 3. And I feel like it was the only track sport we did in high school that wasn't an Olympic sport. Everything else that we did in high school was there.
Has it never been an Olympic?
I think it had to be years ago before they're like, hey, let's run at this thing. We can go farther.
It's not in 21. Okay, no, 2 for 3.
It's not 2 for 8. Okay. Break dancing.
No. Wait a minute. It can't be. How is break dancing an Olympic sport? No, I'm going to say no, it's not.
You are correct, but it will be in the next summer games.
Really?
Break dancing is coming.
Interesting. Okay.
And the last one.
Fair.
Rock climbing.
It is an Olympic sport.
It is.
And we have a Canadian.
Yeah,
just climbing. Yes, and we have a Canadian, a gentleman, and I'm drawing a blank on his name, but who is
for you,
competing
Luke.
in both rock climbing and bouldering. And
I wonder if that guy, what was that solo? What was that movie?
oh, that's the most. Have you seen that movie?
Oh, what was it called? Free Solo.
The most.
Such a tense movie. Everybody dies except for the main guy. Like
the most. Wait, are we talking about the same one?
Free Solo.
The guy. It's a documentary.
Yeah, the climber.
Yeah.
So many of his buddies died. Like
I
just
know.
falling off rocks.
So I've got so many takes on that movie. It's crazy, but maybe the most nerve-wracking movie I've ever watched. Like I was literally sweating.
Seen the Olympics?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think that would be cool. I don't know.
But that guy was crazy.
It was so tense, man. Yeah, you're so right.
Tense. Imagine filming it. Imagine filming it.
Yeah.
Like you could just be filming. Here we go. Okay, we're filming this documentary. He's climbing, and then there he's just died. He just plummeted to his crazy. I don't know how they did it, but that's a crazy movie. That is a crazy movie. Okay, I'm gonna throw one more quick question at you here on Olympics.
All right.
Something we should talk about a little bit here. If you had the chance to train for any Olympic sport, summer, let's do summer and winter, what would be your sport?
So you know what? I actually have thought about this a lot of times. I've thought about it as like, let's say I hit the lottery and my life was cozy and I could just do whatever I wanted to. Trying to get to the Olympics, I think I only have a couple options at my current age, body durability.
Oh gosh. You're like current age. Wow.
Current age. Oh, if I could restart, of course I would go for it. But I'm trying to think of what are my actual chances to make it. Like now, like realistically, right what now. Are my chances? And what I'm going to say, if those professionals that are in this sport, I apologize up front for thinking I could do it. In the winter games, curling.
Yeah,
just gotta learn. Like, come on, just gotta get 3 other really good players. You don't think I could be a lead? Throw a couple bricks out there.
Do
some sweeping. I think I can get that down if I worked at it every single day.
Throw a couple bricks. Let's just be clear. I think they're called stones.
If I was looking at summer games,
rocks.
The other one in the Winter Olympics, I think I could squeeze by in is the 4-man bobsled. Being the last guy, I was so fast, Luke. I still think I got a little bit in the tank. Go get some stem cell, really get ready, like really pump up those legs. All I got to do is hold on, let the other guys do the pushing and be the 4th guy. I'm not saying we're going to medal.
You just got to drive.
I'm not going to slow it down.
As long as you're not driving, you're literally
the driver.
You're just running, and then last guy using your weight.
Yeah, maybe I'm not. Last guy's supposed to be pretty good. I need to be like a middle guy. It's like I feel like I would be like the bobsledder the same way I am helping people move, where you got like 3 guys holding a couch, but I'm like holding it like this with like 2 fingers and being like feeling. Oh yeah, I feel it too. That's my bobsled stuff. Summer games. Really, really easy. You heard me talk about it. Fencing. Absolutely.
Seriously?
You could just get lucky. I guarantee you, I think I could get 1 point versus a professional fencer.
Wow. Okay.
You didn't see it. Which way am I going, Luke? Gotcha. Right. Right in the neck.
There is 0 chance. There's 0 chance you would get 1 point against a professional fencer. If we could line this up, I would love to line that up.
I would love to do it. I want to fence so badly.
I had you really as more of like a rhythmic gymnastics.
And I don't have it,
like
man.
With the ribbon. But only
the
because
other one is dressage.
Is what?
Dressage. Like the horse kind of dancing.
Yeah.
Or like even equestrian, to be honest. Like I'm not doing most of the work. I'm not doing most of the work.
Yes, you are. You're riding a horse. You have to guide the horse. You actually have to guide the horse. Like you're riding.
Hold on. Go right horse. Go left horse. I know. I'm downplaying horse riding. I'm downplaying horse riding.
All of it, all together.
I know. Horse riding. Are going
you would not get
all over me.
You would not get a single point against. You would not get a single point in fencing for sure, and 0 chance you would hold on to. You would stay on the horse on equestrian.
I think I could stay on. I think I could stay on the horse.
No,
I'm not worried about staying on the horse. I'm worried about I got to go fast enough.
Yeah. Okay. So let's just wheel this back.
Actually, those are pretty big. Those are pretty big. Maybe I might struggle.
Yeah.
Actually. That's why just dressage, where the horse just dances around.
Okay. So let's just wheel this back one more second.
Yeah.
So okay. That's current state. So
Correct.
curling, you'd be doing curling where you're throwing bricks, which are also known as, I think, rocks or stones, whatever. I don't even know what they're called, but I know they're not called bricks. Or bobsled, or you'd be doing fencing is ideally what you.
Yeah.
If you could go back, what would be the sport that
Oh my God, I'd love to be a sprinter if I could do it. Luke, I was so fast. I love racing. I love racing people still to this day. Yeah. I love racing. How fast do you think you could run? I don't have the body type for it, man. I'm too short.
No, I know, of course. But how fast current state right now do you think you could run the 100?
I think I could do it in I could go under 13, I think.
Under 13?
Under 13.
There's no chance you would go under
in 100 meter?
100 meter under 13 seconds?
Yeah. 100 meter?
Seriously, you think you go under?
You don't think I can be 3 seconds behind the Olympic champion of the world?
Are you serious?
He crosses the line. 1 second, 2 second, 3 second. There's Troy. Maybe more? Maybe 14?
Okay, we're gonna do this. Let's find a track.
We gotta, dude. You're gonna make me do 100 meters? I'm gonna gas out.
No, you can do 100 meters. You can do 100 meters. If you think you could beat 13 seconds, I don't think there's any chance.
Maybe you're not. What's the average time of a man running 100 meters?
I don't know. We'd have to.
Whatever the average time is for a 43-year-old man, I'm better than that damn average.
Okay.
Speed's the only thing I got, man. It's the only thing I had.
I don't know. I think
I'm gonna rip a hamstring on this exercise.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. We'd have to look this up.
But there's no way. I think I could beat you in a 100 meter dash by 10 meters.
So here we go. A non-elite athlete can run 100 meters in 13 to 14 seconds or at 15.9 miles per hour.
Yeah, that's me, man, for sure. I'm under 14. I'm sub 14, bud.
Yeah. Wow.
Guaranteed sub 14. If we got to take to the street, I'm
let's find a track. Let's
do it, man.
I'd be curious.
I can go to 14.
You're fast, no question. I've actually seen you run because you raced a few people
in the office.
I've seen you do it.
So
no question. You are quick. I will give you that. But I'd be curious to see. Yeah.
What about you, man? What sport would you go for?
Current state. Oh my gosh, I'm in no peak performance to be doing any kind of sports. A sport that I always thought would be just a lot of fun, just because of the environment and where you're training. Beach volleyball.
Oh yeah.
Like if beach volley was your sport and you had to tour around and you were playing on a tour, you're just going to beach destinations by the water and the sand.
Pretty cool.
I'm making that sound pretty glamorous. I don't know if it's exactly like that, but I feel like beach volleyball would be a lot of fun. I always loved rowing. I thought rowing would be crazy.
That is a cool one.
Such a burn. Like your legs are on fire by the end of it, right? Like but I always loved watching rowing and sprinting too, like for sure.
Rowing is, I love watching rowing. You're right. That's a good one. That's a really fun one to watch.
No question. And did you ever, like in high school or anything, did you ever compete in any of these Olympics or no? Like not in like Olympic
in any sports?
Like
so I used to run steeplechase. Actually, I ran steeplechase and I was long distance guy.
No way.
So I used to do 3,000. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I
actually had funny at offset. So it was I made the big event, and it was the first time I went to a race where they said your name on the mic. So it's like, as they're lining up, they're like this. So all you heard was when people are rounding the turns and stuff like that, you heard their name on the mic, but they were only doing like the top 3. So I go out in the 3,000 and I hear my name and I'm just like, I loved it. I loved being out in front and I gassed myself to nothing. I finished dead last with my shirt off at the end of it. It was like, I was so fed up on the last lap. I was like, fuck, this is embarrassing. Take my shirt off.
But
Dropped
you
the
heard your
flag.
name. You heard your
Heard my
name.
name. I heard my name.
Heard your name.
Just gassed
Yeah.
myself out. I was like a
awesome.
pace runner, man. I just went out there, made a pace, and then dropped off like nobody.
That's
It was
awesome.
embarrassing.
Awesome. All right. Well, that's Olympics. Fun.
Can't wait. Fun
It's
times.
gonna be fun to watch over the course of the next couple of weeks.
Go Canada.
We'll be playing along. We'll see how Canada fares. But if you're gonna get in on the betting action, shop around the books, do a lot of the research, put in some time and some effort on that one. We talk about it a lot, but more so with this one because it's tough to find some resources. So good luck with it. Have some fun. Go Canada, go.
Over 4.